Hey man, it's me, Kevin Smith. Welcome to the Grow Tent, everybody. You have found the best cannabis growing channel on YouTube, man. The place where we simplify the approach for you so everyone can learn how to grow. We make it so simple, even I can understand. So I'm going to listen and learn right now.
Woo! What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Grow Tent. We are in the actual grow room. You guys don't get to hang out in here too terribly often anymore because YouTube sucks about me showing this room in particular, unless I'm doing something fake like putting green plastic stuff. That's plastic, YouTube, it's plastic. So we don't get to hang out in here way as much as we used to. But today we got some changes happening in here. We're going to be setting up our air cube system in this tent right here. It's empty. And it's our 6x4. It's got the light rail light mover in the top of it. So we're going to be building this out today to set it up for our air cube system. We got a few things we got to move around. We got to redesign the room just a touch. This table, it's pretty messy. I was doing some trimming and separating and stuff on there so you can see it. So we're going to have to relocate this stuff. You can see I have the power source for one of the lights is right here. I've got the controller for the AC Infinity right there. And we're gonna have to reorganize that stuff because it's all sitting on a table, and actually that power box right there won't reach the ground. I don't want to set it on the ground anyway. So we're gonna have to clean this all up, and we're gonna get, because we need room for our reservoir. Our new reservoir, we have a 60-gallon reservoir. Our new reservoir is going to stay like right here up front. So we got to make room for that. Then we got to build the whole system out. So come hang out. We're gonna be doing this. Probably be like a little weekend project. And step one is I had like 40 yo-yos on this table, and I relocated them, and I had these old glass jars from old videos that were sitting on that table still. So we're going to be reorganizing this, and then we're going to be building out our system in the 6x4 with the light rail light mover. So come on, hang out. Alright guys, it's build out day. We're going to try this again. I keep accidentally panning over too far this way, and you can see plants, and we all know what happened if we show plants on our channel. YouTube doesn't like it. Anyway, we've got all the stuff that came in 3 different boxes. This is our new air cube system. We have 6 pots, and then we have to put all this together. We have to build the reservoir and all that kind of stuff. As I said earlier, I'll just blur that out. See, there's plants. As I said earlier, we're going to be going in this 6x4 right here. It's already open, set up, it's ready to go. We haven't had anything in there for about 3-ish weeks, 4 weeks maybe at this point. Everything going in the 2x4s and the 5x5 lately. And we've been wanting to, I've been wanting to build this out just with the drop and everything going on. Haven't had time, so we're going to be doing it now. Alright, so we're going to assemble all this today. Oof, doesn't look like fun. It's in about 3,000 freaking pieces, but it doesn't look too complicated. So we're going to get this together and get it all set up, and it will be nice to have I got the upgraded 60-gallon reservoir, so we don't have to water very often. God, there they are again. So we don't have to water very often, so it'll be nice. Alright, come on, let's go build this thing. Alright guys, so we are in the process of building our reservoir. The first thing we did is these poles on the inside. They come in 2 pieces. You literally just press them together and put a little connector in between. You're going to slide them up through this end. You're going to raise this up. This is the part that's a little pain in the ass because this is a pretty thick material, so it doesn't slide very well. So you got to pull that up, and then you got to slide one of these locking nuts over the top. So you got to pull this up and then get it started without cross threading it at the same time. So not extremely difficult, but it is, you know, something. Then we're going to install our front valve, and we'll be just about done for the moment with this part. Alright guys, step 1 is done. The reservoir's built. We have the spigot out front attached and the quick attachment attached to it. And all the support poles are in. You can see they all sit in these little bases down at the bottom. And then you have your reservoir marking on how many gallons, so on the inside, so you know how many nutrients to mix whenever you are making your feed. All right, that part's done. On to the next part. All right, guys, so we're on to the next step. We're working on the cube. On the inside of the cube, we've set up the floats. We haven't really adjusted them, but this is like a whole system right here. It's separate, and they plug into those two spots right there in the bottom. You can see them, chunk, chunk. And then you can just grab this and slide this up and down, and these are the little floats. It will turn the system on and off whenever the water gets high enough and it raises. But one thing you do need to make sure is lift it, make sure they both rise and fall and not get caught on anything. Rise and fall, rise and fall. Because what happened is, if this is, like, say, stuck in the down position, it won't ever shut off and it will just stay running, and then you'll have a flood. The next thing we did is there is 6 holes, 3 on this side, 3 on this side, lunchtime. This is the front of the system with the brain box on the front. You're going to need to plug for a 6 cube system. We're setting this up for a 6 cube system. The more cubes you got, the more of these you need to open up. But we have 2 plugged in the back and then 1 in the very front. On both sides are matching just like that. All right, so the other thing we did is we come over here. We've inserted, this is all just set in here right now. I don't have it, hooked up or anything. We've got the fill pump. This comes with 2 pumps. This is the fill pump. We've attached a line of tubing from the pump. This will go down to the brain box. And we also have the cord that will plug into the brain box also. And then we attach the siphon, which wasn't too bad. You just use this puncture tool, puncture a hole up towards the top. This creates siphons where the water will just keep going. This will bleed the air off and prevent any siphons from happening. So you put that little 90-degree air vent in there. All right, next part. All right, guys, now this is the second pump that we're getting out. This will be the drain pump. Both the pumps come with the same stuff in them. So inside there you got the little rubber suction cup feet for the bottom. I doubt they're going to keep the pumps very well attached to the bottom of anything. It may do okay on the bottom of the hard plastic, but in the bottom of the reservoir it's just too uneven, so it doesn't stick very well. And then you've got a couple fittings in there. That's the main one we're going to go for, is that bigger one. They do have smaller ones in there if you're using smaller tubing. And then you've just got the pump right there on the inside. That's what it looks like whenever it comes out. Now we're going to grab this bigger size one in here, and it just screws right. And then just hand tighten. You don't need any tools or anything. You can really just spin that in by hand. And then that pump's set up. We'll take this little band off here, and then we're going to place this in the bottom of the cube. Alright, suction cups are installed. Super easy. And now we're just going to place it into the bottom of that. First, you get a little spit on that thing. Get these all lubed up so they stick better. Alright, now we're going to place it in the bottom of here. Alright, pump's installed. Nothing to it. You can see the plugs that we've put in, and then these are the front actual pass-throughs. And then this cord, they have a little slot for it right up front, so you don't pinch the cord and it falls just right into there. Big thing is, make sure when you're installing this that you don't put this, come on, focus. Don't put it too close to the floats so that they get hung up on it. So just make sure you leave plenty of room, don't touch the floats. And you can literally put that thing anywhere in there. Just stay away from the float system in the back or in the front. Alright guys, so that's all set up. We have the fill pump is connected and the drain pump is both plugged into the brain. We have the return line to the drain, and then we have the fill line going back. Both go into the top of the buckets. So you now have a pump inside of here in the back, so it's nice and straight. That's where I found the kind of the best place for it. Lines come out each side so we don't pinch anything. And then you have another pump that sits inside down there, and then you have your reservoir markings. I really wish they would have put this reservoir thing for the fill line in the back. I don't understand why it's on the front. It's about my only gripe with it is now to see it, I mean, you're over the top like this. I just for future reference, if anybody at Aircube ever sees this, could you move this to the back? Because now, I mean, when you're walking to the front of the system, you can just see it instead of coming over the top like so. All right, that's my only gripe, very small gripe so far. All right, now that that is done, we're going to be moving over to the bucket setup. We're going to be setting this up for 6 buckets, so we have 6 grommets that we are just going to be installing onto the bottom here. All this is we're going to be attaching the grommet up into here. You can see on there's a line on the side. We're just going to line up the side of the grommet, that line with the ridge. This is not super easy to do with one hand trying to film, but we'll get it there, and it'll come out looking just like that. And the big thing here is make sure this grommet is seated in that ridge, because what happens is you don't get it seated. This ridge of this part right here seated in this valley right here. What'll happen is, if that's not seated all the way around, so all I did is take my finger and I kind of worked it around the inside just to make sure it pushed all the way in. What'll happen is, if this isn't seated, like let's say instead of this being all the way around, it's like the edge is sitting right here. When you go to push your fitting in, you can move this and dislodge it to where it kind of kinks over, and then you're going to have a leak. And the last thing you want to do in an ebb and flow system is have a leak. One other thing that I've found is the edges aren't, you kind of got to go through and kind of deburr them. Now, do you have to do this step? No. But anytime I'm dealing with water, I want my surfaces for like water retention, as far as like where the grommet goes, I want that as deburred and just flat as possible. So I just kind of been going around with just my fingernail, focus, and then just kind of deburring the edges. See how it's got like this piece right here? I just don't want that, anything like that. So I'm probably just going to take this scissor and I'll drag it along that edge to get rid of that little piece. You know, just, do you have to do that? Probably not. It's just, you know, I'm anal about stuff like that. Alright, so one thing I'm going to say about it is, this tent is 6 foot wide by 4 foot deep, so a decent sized tent. I think we're going to still set it up for 6 pots. I think 6 pots is a little bit much for a tent like this. Normally I would probably only put 4 in here. All this means is we're going to have quicker veg times, because we're not going to allow the plants to get as big in veg, because there's 6 plants in here instead of just like the normal 4. 4 pots is about the average. I filled this tent with 2 plants a bunch of times, because I usually just, what I usually use this tent for is flipping my mothers if I'm going to be doing anything like that. So we're going to run 6 for the first one. We'll probably just end up doing like 3-week veggies and then flipping the flower with being this many plants in here. This will just end up being a quicker vegging tent is what will end up happening. So we're going to set it up for 6. Just, it looks crowded in here to me with this many pots. You're not going to be getting the plants very much bigger than, I mean, there's a decent size cube, but we're not going to be able to get the plants very much bigger than the pots, because the pots take up so much square footage in here. So we'll probably just I imagine I'm going to downsize this in the future, but for now we're going to set it up with the 6, and it'll just be a shorter vegging tent. Okay, so the first one's in. You can see all we did is insert this T into the bottom of the grommet, and then we'll flip it back over. We'll repeat the process all the way around, just inserting this T. It fits in there really easy. The grommet material is very soft. I haven't needed to use any like Crisco or anything, like any kind of oil or anything to get it in. It's literally just, the tubing is in, the grommets are all very soft. So I'm just going to repeat this process 5 more times. We'll flip them all in line, and then we're going to run the tubing to connect everything. It's one big water flow is what all it is you pump from one side of the bucket. You'll have like the tube that comes out and pushes to everything, and then the tube that returns and goes back in the other side. So it's just one big flow. It's filling up. All right, guys, the new system is up. It's working and functioning perfectly. I think this is going to wrap it up for episode 1. We got some really cool tips and tricks for episode 2, so you make sure you subscribe to the channel and check it out. GT.